probably about 30 seconds. There we go. It says we're live now. Let me put up the comments. Okay. All right. And I'll just check and make sure while people are coming in that it took. If you're watching this on Facebook, it's a replay because we have been banned from doing any lives for until the 27th of January. But I'll upload this. I'll upload this on Facebook. It should be up in 2 hours. We are live on YouTube, and we're also live on the X platform. And I'm working on getting 6 other platforms approved. I didn't realize there was such a process that you had to go through. Welcome, everybody. Let us know if you're here. Welcome to Soulogy. It's our first show, first of 2 shows today. We have a lot of new friends, a lot of sisters coming in the house and spending time with us, and it's about time because it's time the world heard their voice. So today we have 2 sisters that are coming in, and the first one's here, our new friend Oksana, I think is how you say it, Oksana. I should have made sure that let me put your name up. Just one more thing here. Oh, there it is. It is there. I just didn't see it. Okay. Yeah, so we have our friend Oksana here. She lives in Ashland. She came recommended by a couple of different sisters. I got all these names, and they're like, hey, you should have this sister on and that sister on. I'm like, okay. And they made my life easier. So it's been a real pleasure to sit down and have a conversation with some of them. We have a lot more of them on the schedule. I think we've got 2 every day for a few days. But yeah, Oksana, welcome to Soulogy. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence. It's a privilege to have you here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd, for sending invitation, and thank you for my friend Joka, who recommended.
Oh, that was her. Oh, she's
Yeah.
recommended like probably 10 or 12, and they've all been really good for sure. Yeah. Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, and there's so many different stories with the people that have come on over the years, thousands of shows, and it's interesting because doing the show is like my way of experiencing the ascension, because I can see what's happening through the pattern of the conversations and through the energy of the people that come onto the show. You've got an interesting story because, a big part of this whole, people like to not always speak in the best way about Facebook and other social media, but man, if we hadn't had it, we wouldn't have all come together the way we have. It's pretty amazing, and meet people from all over the world, and then get to find out about their stories. You're from the Ukraine, and you're living in Ashland, Oregon now, and you've got a beautiful family, and there's got to be a whole lot going on there. At the same time, you're going through the same thing everybody else is going through, which is amazing to me, to be able to run, to be the central figure in a household, and have to go through what we're all going through. The shadow work, the expansions, the contractions, the expansions. But yeah, it's good to have you here. So you said you had watched the show over the years a few times. You know what our favorite question is. Did you have a wake-up experience, or have you always been this weird?
Oh, I believe that I was just like all of us came as a child, probably. Aware, and yet got conditioned by the matrix to conform, to forget this innocence, and to be a good girl, to follow the rules, to do what's right, to go to college, to get married, on and on, the program. And yeah, as a child, I was also very, very sick, and like losing my consciousness and waking up at night and walking around the house. Kind of been interesting. And my awakening, I think I would say moving from Ukraine to the States, and back in 2000, I came from from Ukraine, and just different world, different culture, different everything, and missing my family a lot. This is when a lot of suffering, just suffering, and trying different things and going back and forth, and then finally seeing that I am not there, not here. Who am I? That seeking energy was building up, and birth of my children, of course, and everything, all my engagements, all my things that mattered, work. When my children were born, it didn't matter, and me being with them and playing and connecting. There's nothing I wanted to do, just to be with my children, and I believe they initiated me on just the path of being who I am, because it was easier. Yeah, at the time, my husband, now ex-husband, but still very good friend, was supporting me with homeschooling, unschooling. I actually unschooled my two daughters. And we had a wild ride. Yeah, lived in California, moved to Washington, moved all over the place. Just looking for communities where this kind of conscious educating and connection. And yeah, we moved to Boulder, Colorado, lived there a little bit. We moved to Mississippi, like all over the place.
Mississippi. Wow,
My
that's a big difference. Nothing against
yeah,
Mississippi. I love Mississippi. I love the food. It's just a big difference than the other places that you mentioned.
yeah. Well, my ex-husband was in the military, so we moved there for a little bit. But I I believe through all these journeys, the observation of people and cultures, maybe doing the grid work. I don't know why I had to move around so much. Never really been settled in any one place for very long. And yeah, just living, I guess, surrendering to each moment as it comes, each day. That helped a lot to just be with what is and find solace in nature. and and just naturally everything just started making sense, and what didn't make sense also would come up, which again, the turbulence and chaos and yeah, meeting, following synchronicities. That's how I got on a call with Alicia and back 5 years ago.
Is that
And
what Alicia in Costa Rica? Alicia Hall?
yes,
Okay, I got you.
yes,
She's coming
yes.
on in a few days.
Yeah, I just love her. Yeah, when and she was learning gene keys, this, and she was sharing, and I was just sitting there and absorbing, and nothing made sense to me. It didn't make sense, but it just energy pulled me in, and I believe this was the yeah, the deep, intense shadow work journey in the last 5 years. deepest recalibrations that actually became clear that my family, the purpose of me and my ex-husband coming together to birth these two children, cosmic children, and parent them the way we parent them, and live the way we lived, and yeah, and everything. Then a few years ago, everything just kind of exploded. We all flew out of the nest, and yes, and then they went on to their journeys, and yeah, there is peace at the moment, and deep acceptance, and deep respect and love. But of course, we had to purge a lot and heal a lot, and it continues.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I think maybe we need to stop calling it ascended and we'll call it ascending. Should have an ing on the end. Well, that's a heck of a story. That's a really you know vivid picture that you paint with your retelling. That's a lot of life from 2000 to 2025 to go through a moving around in a new country and with a first marriage and three cosmic children and homeschooling. You were ahead of your time homeschooling, which is interesting. And then you say everything exploded, which I think we can all relate to that. A lot of that seemed to happen around 2020 when COVID came out, a little bit before, a little bit after. And then I love the way that you refer to like your children, the way you refer to them as they're on their own path. I remember reading a book years ago, back in the 80s or 90s, when I used to read before the internet came out. And Marianne Williamson has a book, and I remember she wrote, because I have 6 children, and I remember her writing something to the effect to allow, don't force your rhythms on your children. Allow them to organize their own rhythms in life, And I thought, wow, that's a powerful thing, because the psychological label of a parent, especially a mother, a mother is the original of all originals, right? So, but yeah, you've done quite a bit of traveling, and you have exposed yourself to different cultures. How did you? It sounds like, though, that you had some idea that you wanted to be in an environment, let's just say, that would be more conducive to light worker, starseed, hippie, kind of progressive. So where did that start? Did you discover that in the United States, or was that something that you were exposed to before you left Ukraine?
I think in here in the United States. But my grandma, my mother's mom, was very, I think she was, yeah, I remembered her frequency, and she was with me through all the hardest and toughest. In fact, she gave me a token, and her love and her frequency, I believe, and her unconditional love, I always remembered, and yeah, and here I kept seeking. I guess I kept seeking this energy, and of course, and trying to find it on the outside, and naturally drawn to, of course, the people that hold that, asking for knowing, tapping, rediscovering. Yes, and I've been through various communities, on this path, and I believe that in in my life I was exposed to a lot of people with trauma, like many of us, childhood trauma that lingered um, into adults, and at first it's like, is the way, this is all there is life, but this is not, because my children's innocence and their playfulness and how um, their bright lights. Uh, so what is it like? So yes, and so my daughter, I remember, painted this big picture with all the bright colors, and she wrote three fun, that this life is about fun. So I guess I found I I found in the spiritual communities that I resonated, where there would be that innocence and fun and adventure. So that was my my exploration, I guess, the discovery. And I love tuning in, like your show and your adventure, how openly you shared, and vocalizing everything, and others. I was always a little bit, I guess, I don't know, self-conscious, insecure. um, but yeah, I had to find that voice and trust in it. And yes, and honor everybody's journey, and not to make it right or wrong, or mine's better, or realizations we are having, or yeah, the community that I've been part of the last 5 years is pretty much Gene Keys, and related to discovering these codes, and contemplating a lot, and meditating, and being still in nature, and finding alchemizing, doing a lot of alchemy in relationships. Yeah, relationships are the greatest mirrors, right? For
Absolutely, 100,000%. That's for sure. And children are right
yeah,
there with it too. You know,
yes, yes,
but
yeah.
yeah, you carry the energy and of the journey that so many sisters do. Like that's the difference. Like 5 years ago, you wouldn't have been on the show. 5 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. But yet, if I look back at my work, going back to 2012, the energy that you carry is 80%, 70% of all of these communities. They rarely speak. They always show up. They sometimes have a comment to say in the comment section. They don't post a lot. If they do, it's about their family or something. But they're just kind of private. Yet they're the glue of the whole movement. So to listen to you and to feel your energy today, it's very exciting. It's very inspirational because I talked to one just like you yesterday, and I talked to another one the day before. And that one said the same thing about their grandmother. They said, yeah, my grandmother told me this and that, and, gave her great advice when she was a kid, and she was, seeing things and hearing things. And, so there's this whole unfoldment that's happening. And it's, talking to these sisters toward the end of last month and November, one of the things that was coming out was they were saying, my team or my soul is telling me it's time for me to get out there and talk. Yeah, and I can feel it in you too.
Yes, true. Yeah. And yet when you come out with there you will meet I met and we are all meeting a lot of resistance and a lot of like don't say that, say it this way. And so facing all the energy of opposition or oppression and not fighting it but absorbing it, that's what I've learned in the past, I don't know, couple years. Just absorb it, work with it, and it will strengthen. It gave me so much strength. It gave me a lot to sit with. It gave me a lot to contemplate that how huge we truly are, and yet how small we allowed ourselves to be for so long, and therefore kind of comfortable being small, but not really. And but we aren't. The light that we came here to give and to be, whether publicly being a platform, big whatever it is, or in each and every day, wherever we go, it seems like so effortlessly to be oneself. It is so easy to be yourself. um, and to so yeah, I find that when I am confident in just be yourself, wake up and with this love for life and for each day, then somehow everything organizes, and then you become that little. I'm reminding others through wherever in a grocery store, and yeah, everywhere, and then seeing the unfoldment. Yes, awakening, ascending, unfoldment is beautiful. Even in the tragedies and in the receiving the diagnosis from like what my parents right now is still in Ukraine, and what is holding space for their journey, because they could have come, but they chose to be there, and this is their path, and so many.
Yeah, that's a big one there. Not many of us can relate to that. I've got one friend that's Ukrainian that's been in Soulogy a long time. That's something that we can't really relate to here, most of us. But and then listening to you as well. I mean, this I like what you said about you know absorbing. Yeah, there's that meme that says observe, don't absorb. And then other people say, I'm putting this boundary up, I'm putting this boundary up. And I think those are necessary at certain times. But this energy that you're such an example of and what you're talking about doesn't have any boundaries. There are no boundaries. And so, and then I think the other thing you bring in too is about the children. Your experience with your own children, which is really bringing you back to what you just said, which is so easy to be myself. Well, what is that, to be myself? It's to be like we were, like we are. Like you said, we forgot, but I mean the childlike innocence and wonder and curiosity, and zest for life, like the presence of that. I mean, kids aren't always thinking about tomorrow. They're just thinking about right now. What can I play with? What can I do? What can I eat?
Yes.
But yeah, but to be able to, I mean, have parents in Ukraine, have your life over here, have your exposure to the gene keys and people like Alicia, and have your own journey and be your own person and be in peace. It's cool because people, often people have looked at, including me, look at certain people that are famous, or that have a big platform with a million people on it, or and they talk about being a star seed or a light worker, or some of their light language, or this or that, and you look at them and go, oh my God, I'm not like that. But the reality is that stuff's going away. It's too much of a difference. There's too much of a separation there. There's the teacher-student thing. I'm not saying that doesn't work. What I'm saying is that we're all coming into the space of what you're exemplifying and what you are sourcing within yourself. And so what I'm saying is I think people can relate. They can see themselves in someone like you much easier than those that I'm referring to. Because if you look around at what's happened over the last year or so, a lot of that stuff is crumbling. And out of those ashes are coming energy like yours. And people can look at you and say, yeah, I can relate to her. I get it. Yeah, that if she, if she can be herself, I can be myself. And I'm like you. I keep saying to the universe these last few months, you mean to tell me all I got to do is be myself, and that's the whole trick? And like you said, you do it and everything unfolds. It just doesn't unfold the way that we thought it was going to unfold. We had all these plans, you go do this and you go do that, and then they give you this and they give you that. No, this one's more like be yourself and don't worry about it. It's all going to, the universe knows what you want, I mean, it's the universe. Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
Just everything there's just self-organizes then. Everything, every moment then is that divine synchron. And then wherever we stay for however long, in communities and relationships and conversations and places of where we live. It's like, I don't know how long I'm going to be here or what will be tomorrow. And yeah, it's trust. I feel that trust and faith in this walking in the unknown and attuning, being like birds. I mean, the birds, animals, they are very intuitive and very like in Gene Keys there is this course called Dream Arc, and each gene key has a animal where the highest frequency CD is a bird, and then the animal stands for the gift frequency of the heart, and then some creepy crawly for the shadow, and so they each have a message, they each have a guidance. So the shadow is guiding, and then the little bug that we think is, I don't like it. It has a message. It gives us. It reflects back to our nature too. And so yeah, everything is everything's alive, and it's fun.
Yeah, it is, and you're right. And all this stuff they talked about. I'm a lot older than you, but I can remember the '60s. And there was a lot of long hair and pot smoking, and everybody started to come out of their shell, and freedom, and so there was a lot of like in the '90s there was a New Age movement, and you have a lot of nice sayings like "go within" and all these pretty things, right? But they forgot to tell us about what you said, which is whatever comes in your way, you absorb it. And I know what you mean by that. You work with it. Like, because if you don't work with it now, you're going to have to work with it again somewhere down the road. It's not going to let you go. And I think that's how you build the trust, is you start to realize that nothing's going to kill you, because nothing can kill you. I'm a soul, and And so if there's something that's put before me, then yeah, it's my best interest to get to know what it is, whether it's anger or pain or suffering or a relationship or whatever the case is. I think that's a really good point that you're making. The other thing too that I was really going to talk about with what you were saying was about the connectivity to the insects, to the animals, to the, it sounds weird, okay, because we were told it was weird, but I'm living it every single day. I have a creepy crawler that lives in my kitchen. I have a creepy crawler that lives in my kitchen, and I have a spider that lives in my bathroom. And we talk every day. And I made a deal with the creepy crawler. I said, listen, because I'll get up at late at night, and I'll go get some water or something, and I turn the light on, and he's running across the floor, or running across the... And I said, look, man, I know you live over here, but just don't be seen, because sometimes you freak me out, But he had a message for me when he first came. He came, and I saw him 3 nights in a row, and I said, okay, you got something to say, right? And I've had it with other things here in Mexico since I've been here. Dogs, birds, like even today, which has never happened before. I've lived in this place now for 3 months. And the birds went crazy. I got up at 4 o'clock this morning and started working, and they went crazy right out here. And sometimes you hear the birds when the sun's coming up and then they go away. No, they kept going and going and going until it was 1 o'clock to do this show. But as soon as you came on, you know what happened? They stopped. They've been doing this for 9 hours, and I get on with you, and all of a sudden they stop. But I could hear their excitement, and I do hear the birds' excitement when I walk through the town at night. It wasn't that way when I first got here, so they're feeling something, and I think that's the part that a big part of what we missed is what you talked about, because we stopped thinking they were anything, but they're souls too. Everything's got soul. I mean, it's all the same thing. It just looks different. You look different than me. They look different than us. And we probably were creepy crawlers before.
Yeah, it's the message is the it's fun. It's what allows us. I feel like the connection to the nature and what will allow us to move through whatever it is next. That dissolutions and destructions, if that's gonna happen, that we always can ground, like no matter, we'll have enough, we'll have what we need. We'll have what we need, because all our baggage and stuff, we don't need it really. But what exactly we need for our journey and what the life here will have. And I was talking to a friend the other day, and I was saying how squirrels, they take as much, they collect just as much acorns, whatever to last them a winter, they know how much. They don't need to stock up like more than they need. And there is this great trust in and so then I could reflect to myself, like, trust what you need, with like money, with things like whatever it is, and share. In sharing, there is, it's also that, certain wounds that in non-sharing and in holding on more than, if I'm graced with, then I share what I have. And yes, and because then the mind kicks in, and the mind thinks, oh no, you'll need it for later, or whatever it is. And then it becomes heavy. So, yeah, the birds, inviting us to lighten up our loads.
And I think they're reminding us that the mother bird always kicks you out of the nest. I saw an interview with one of the tech leaders, one of the cool ones. I think it was the guy that owns Telegram. He's a young man. He's probably 35 years old. And the guy said to him, "Somebody told me that you don't own anything. You don't own a car. You don't own a house." He said, "No, I don't own anything." And they said, "Why?" He said, "Because all it does is create more stress in my life. I've got to go keep it up. I got to pay the insurance. I got to clean, it just requires more." And I thought, wow, that's a really great metaphor, because that's exactly right. I see people, the people that I know, my family, and I think the right word would be hoard. They hoard things. They hold on to things because they're afraid. And I understand it, security and scarcity, the root chakra stuff. I mean, this stuff we've all been subjected to. But wow, I never thought, if you would have told me a year ago or 2 years ago, you're going to be living in Mexico in this little flat with a mattress and 2 chairs, and then you're going to buy a plastic table, a plastic chair, and a plastic stool so you can do your work, and 2 forks and 2 spoons and 2 knives and 2 plates and 2 glasses and 2 coffee cups, I would have said you're crazy. I'm 60, going to be 60. I'm 64. I just turned 64 last month. And I would have said, no, man, this is this is when I'm supposed to be taking it easy now. But I wouldn't change it because what you're saying. I wish, it'd be nice to have, money, in savings accounts and, a vehicle, whatever. But, man, I don't want the stress. I don't need it. And I'm with you. If I have it, I share it. And I've been following that since 2018 with Soulogy. We were told, take 1/3 of anything that comes in and give it away. And it comes back to you. So I really feel like that people like you setting that type of template, there are many, 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 a lot more than we might even think, that are living this kind of lifestyle where things, whatever they need, comes to them. And that's real, that's energy. That's energy in the physical horizontal plane. That's powerful. To me, that's more powerful than the downloads we get, is to actually create that type of positive unity energy through being yourself, which when you are able to be yourself, it kind of allows you to look at everyone else as the same,
Yes, yes. We all have different skills and gifts, and to help each other in this realm, just like birds and everything. They all coexist in this harmony, even though it might seem to us there is some conflict. Even conflict is there to navigate and so we, it's also been vulnerable. I have learned a lot about through this journey, to not be afraid of just vulnerabilities, and use and then in fact that's the portal. I feel that's the portal to unlock deeper layers of our heart. And the tears, the sacred tears, someone I met a few years back when I was also like living in a tent and stuff. During those years of like where I felt like everything's just disappearing and I don't know what to hold on to. And this being, this showed up and he said, wow, those are sacred tears. And he reminded me that, and then this person brought, I was on the campground somewhere with my kids and my husband at that time, and he brought whatever he had. He had some apples, he had some cheese, homemade cheese he made, and he like put it there for me in front of me, and I realized really our humanity, that we all go through the times of just great disillusion, like, total chaos and not knowing and like, what am I doing? And someone shows up for the glimpse of a moment and then they're gone. They were just that messenger. And we are that too to each other. And yeah, living with this faith and yeah, and maybe that's the light language. That's the light language, and that's the
I
language.
think I think so. I really feel like over the last year, I started to really feel that our biggest transmissions and our biggest downloads are coming from each other now. Like the other ones were meant to help us remember, but the
Yes.
real wisdom is right here, like between us right now, or that situation that you're talking about. And then I go back to what you said at the beginning about absorbing, right? Like I've never heard, everyone always says, don't absorb, but I get what they're saying. But the reality is, that's how we learn. What is this I'm looking at? Why am I looking at it? Well, how does it make me feel? And I think as I'm listening to you, what came to me was, well, she's right. The vulnerability is the portal because the vulnerability exposes you to something that you're not comfortable with and that you don't know. Because of the fact you've been uncomfortable with it, you didn't want to know. So
That's
how can you know yourself? And that was the other thing that you started the show with when you said, oh, I just have to be myself. And it's not that, it's actually pretty easy once we realize or understand who we are. You know what I mean? Because we got to figure out what we're not and who we're not, because we put on all those masks and all those faces and the programs and everything. But yeah, that's a great story. The vulnerability is the portals. And like you said about that man, well, what's the difference between that man and a being that appears in this room to me now? Well, they're both doing the same thing. And that's crazy because, like you said, we and you do it for others. We do it for each other. Yet, you know what I mean? But yet we've looked at it as, oh, that's a human. That's a human. Well, that's true. It's a soul in a human body that can relate to the human experience and the human condition because we've all been subjected to the same thing.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, yes, yeah. Someone who's and I've learned. Yes, I so agree with you. I remember when the war with Ukrainian, the war started, and I would tell my parents my perspective on. They were not asking for it, but I thought, okay, I'll open their eyes. I'll open their to what is really going on. And I thought, oh, I know what's going on, so I'm gonna. But that's not what they were asking. So when I realize is that just be present to what they're feeling, and just be there for them. Let them speak out everything that they're feeling, how they're feeling. Let cry with them, and somehow that will bring great healing. And if they will ask questions, then you can show them what you know, but don't just right away yeah, it's um an ability to feel, and as I'm feeling so deeply and I'm healing and I'm seeing that yeah, all these intels, all this everything just lights up, and self-acceptance, deep self-acceptance, and yeah, it's
Well, I think that's a good point too about like when we get a certain intel or transmission or download or whatever, and we all of we well, I'm not saying this still happens to us. It probably does a little bit, but with that information, we feel like somebody's given us the title or, the authority to go tell people things that they didn't ask about, like your parents. And I think that's part of the process too. Is we have to get to a point where we look at ourselves in the mirror and go, "Who do you think you are?" Like, you know what I mean? It's like this whole thing, like, oh, they're not awake, and they're not awake, and I really, and that's my own problem. I've struggled with that on the show over the years, and I'll correct people, and I'll say, how do you know they're not awake? And that's just me. That's me being me. Okay, but how do we know? How do we know that? How do we know that there's really NPCs? How do we know that anything out there is not the same thing? That wouldn't make any sense. Even if there was a matrix, it has to be founded upon something. I don't think the mother goddess overlay is out there and left the earth. I think it's underneath it. It's been the basis of the ground we walk on. There's just overlays put on top of it. But yeah, I think part of our evolution, and I think this is coming in to our awareness now. The first, let's say from 2012, like all those years, some people started at different times, but overall 2012, and you get all these channels and downloads and transmissions and gifts, and you know how to do this and this and that. And that was trying to remind us of our multidimensionality, but the real transformation comes from, oh my God, I don't want to be here anymore. What is this problem? Or what's that person's problem? Or I got a big download. I'm gonna go tell my parents what's going on here, and then you end up in that state you were talking about, like at the campground, and you're going, well, there's nothing here. It's just me. And at a human level, you're going, who do I think I am? Like, that was embarrassing. Yeah, I think we have to embarrass ourselves. I think that's part of it, and maybe people don't laugh at us, but we see it. We see it ourselves, in ourselves. And that's where the masks start to come off. And we start to realize that, you can't be raised in a narcissistic realm, because it is a narcissistic realm. It's a realm that tells you, a government that tells you, a religion that tells you, do this, do what I say, not what I do. Don't second guess me. Or they gaslight you, like you see a lot of that going on now. But you can't be in that environment and not be affected. So you have to kind of unlearn things. But in order to unlearn them, you have to learn about yourself. A lot of it's like with our parents. And nobody wants to be like their parents. Everybody, as a teenager, I'm not going to be like my parents. And then you get to about 20 or 30 and you're like, man, I am my parents. And then you have to like go in and go, okay, this part I like, this part I can, I can remix it and expand it, or, it's a very humbling journey. If I say this to myself every day, if I'm not eating some humble pie every day, then I must be missing something, because there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn, and it takes
yeah,
it takes an open heart period. Just does, you know. It's at the end of the day. It's almost like we have this journey, metaphorically speaking, and you get to the end, and they said the masters say to you, the angels, they say, okay, it's just you and what you're looking at, and either and what you're looking at might kill you. So you want to kill it first, and we say no. This is what we do. We don't give up, but we don't close our heart. For if we do, it's not the soul is an open heart, So it's
It's
pretty.
impossible. Yeah, it's impossible to close, because then you suffer.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And so, do you like, with everything that you told us that happened since just from 2000? Can you see a difference now? Do you see a difference in the world? Do you see a difference in your community and the people closest to you? Do you see a change happening?
Yes, huge change, yes. I just see well, here in Ashland is, it's pretty cool here. It's really a place of a lot of people. There's a lot of light workers. We're close to Mount Shasta. People go back and forth. And there's a lot of, I believe, portals here and different spots that are interesting. Really you get, I believe, even speeding up of these awakenings. And for me, definitely coming to Ashland was going down the rabbit hole, kind of Alice in Wonderland here. And things started happening here that I've never, but maybe it was just a timeline. It was time synchronicities, and it just happened to be in Ashland. I don't know. But yes, I see a lot of energetically more peace. I would say more peace, more inquiry, more cooperation, more harmony, more openness, more people opening their hearts and speaking, and more respect in this community. And just I see how it's happening in the community of my family and my extended family. It seems like there is more acceptance is happening versus like when I first started homeschooling, I was not liked, or I thought everyone told me I am weird and why you're not doing your life. And I was like, well, that's my life. And yeah, I think that there is.
Now everybody's doing it.
Yeah, I believe that people are more, what I'm feeling energetically, there is more acceptance and more innovation. There's a lot of innovation is happening. There's people helping people coming together with their gifts, and less fear, I would say. People just openly share that they would like to create something, or they put it out there, something, and more playfulness in and I see how my kids live. My youngest daughter, she is a circus performer, and so she travels.
That's so cool. How the hell did she get to do that? Did the circus came to town and she just said, I want to join you? That's amazing.
Well, since Yes, yeah. So she started like she was young, she started walking on her hands upside down, just in a driveway. And then taking different classes, dance, and then it organically, that's what I'm seeing, that as organically
She
she
created it. She created it. Truly, you were able to see
created.
as her mother. She created the whole thing because you watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. Yeah, so she organically, the whole thing, like, in fact, she brought us to Ashland. I went to Mount Shasta and I wanted to be there. And she's like, no, we're not going to be here because there is no rock climbing gym here. At that time, she wanted to rock climb. And then we came here, and then and I just followed because this the energy that these kids have and the desire to, they're so strong, you cannot just say no. So yeah, and then how.
That's very true. I've got six, and the youngest one is, oh my God, I can't even. I have ascension bad memory. I think she's 23. But I got the two youngest ones because their mom transitioned, and I got the two youngest ones in like 2013, a couple of years after I woke up, and so they were just hitting puberty. They were like 11 and 12, right? And yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's a force stronger than a female becoming a woman. Like that is the most powerful force in the world.
Oh
but
yeah.
but it's amazing because the because they're a little bit younger than the other ones. And one was born in 2001 and one was born in 2002. They're 14 months apart. And both of them became independent very early, like in their teens. 15, 16, 17 became independent. And both of them chose unconventional paths in the sense of society's, conventional wisdom. They chose themselves, you know.
Yeah.
And it was a powerful thing to watch. And I was laughing when you were telling me about your daughter because my youngest daughter, she's that way. Like she made her life. Like I'm not going to go to college. I like art. I like this part of town. And I'm like, man, that's a really expensive part of town. And maybe you ought to go to, get, no, this is what I'm going to do. And she did it. She's still doing it,
Yeah.
which is, I think, when you really look at your daughter and your kids and you start to realize that part of what's kind of falling away is the way we logically think about things like homeschooling or vaccines or whatever, and you start to realize that they're teaching us. Your daughter's teaching you. She's giving you a download. She's giving you information, intelligence, intel, showing you without words mostly. This is how it works. They're just amazing. And to think that you and your sisters who've been in the background, who've been there, who've actually been the core of these communities, are starting to speak out now. And on top of that, you have the children. And they're so high frequency, right? And then on top of that, you have the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, the elementals, the ocean. So I think it's us old timers might be able to take it a little easy now.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, these kids, they just go for life. And then, yeah, one of my daughters is 20 and she's a circus. And she's not afraid of hard work or whatever it is. She's like, Mom, I like hard work. I'm like, okay, go for it. It's it's whatever it is that you need to learn and to evolve and to make your choices. and my older daughter, she was also born in 2001. She's 24. She's about to be a mom, and she always wanted a big family, and then she created that too. It's like they know. I remember when, since they were little, they would draw pictures and they would talk exactly what is happening there inside of them. And so it's fascinating.
That's it. Well, I mean, they're consciously creating. We were unconsciously creating. You know, we had to learn that. Oh my God, this is actually all me. I created this. It's so funny too. I remember when I was a kid, because I've got 5 brothers and sisters, and they had this game in the '60s, and it was called the Game of Life, right? And so you would get in a car, and then and you would drive around, and then you get married, and they'd get in a car, and then you know what I mean? And it would have this whole
Yeah,
thing.
I like that game.
Do you remember? I cheated. I'll never forget this. I cheated, and I got married twice, and had three kids in each car. I had 2 cars, and I would drive the car. And that's exactly what happened.
Isn't that funny? Wow.
Be careful what you know what I mean? It's magic. It's magic. That's what it is. We're creating potions and what do you call it? Cantations, right? Like a recipe, like you're cooking. But the kids get it. They get it. These kids are amazing, and we haven't even seen a lot of the ones that are 5 years old, 7 years old, 9 years old. You know, I mean, you got kids coming in here telling people, "Hey, I was from this blue planet, and I came here to clean this one up." Or, this happened to someone I know recently. Their grandson started telling the mother, "I'm not from here. I'm from somewhere else."
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
think we were probably doing it when we were kids, but I feel like it got shut down quick. Like, that's not real. Your invisible friends aren't real. Your imagination isn't something that's real. It's just fantasy. So for these kids, it's not like that. And I think that's why the animals are so excited, because they realize we're starting to hear them. It happened to me this summer with 2 cats I was living with. I've never lived with cats, right? And I went through a trauma. And the next thing I know, they're both talking to me. I'm like, what? Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yes.
It's a whole different world we're moving into.
Yes. It's all clearing the what doesn't belong here. So we're still putting our hands in the dirt and clearing this, and keep doing it while these new children and new children. My partner now, a daughter who is 4. It's so beautiful. It's the what is coming through this little beam of light and
I remember when Alicia's daughter was born over in Costa Rica. And now I saw a picture over the other. I saw a picture over the other. She must be about 4 now, and I saw, or
she's
maybe
5. I think she
5.
turned 5.
Yeah, yeah. She looks big. I hadn't seen her in a while, and I'm looking at this kid, and I'm going, just a picture, and I'm going, whoa, whoa! Like, she has grown up in the jungle for 5 years. Imagine that. Imagine that energy, even if it's because it's not even about like what we go and do, like what we achieve, right? Like, what job did I get, or what title did I? It's just it's like a tuning fork. She's just like a column of light, and they're all over the place. And what you said about the more acceptance, the more understanding thing. Well, obviously, if you look at half of the internet, and if you look at the news, and they're telling a whole different story, and that to me is the biggest proof, because they're not talking about the real stuff. They're talking about, it's all distraction, really. Meant to get people to argue, but yet there's a whole bunch of us here, and I'm convinced it's probably more than half. If you count the kids and you count people like you, I bet you it's more than half. And all we got to do is spread the word, like people listening to you. And all it takes is 2 or 3 people hear you, 2 or 3 women, sisters like you, and then they say, hey, I'm going to go out and be on a show and talk. It's code. The code is, it's like when you go to the store. This happens to me here in Mexico. And I'll walk by a family with a little kid, like a 2-year-old. And they'll walk by me, and that 2-year-old will just keep going like that. And the eyes are real big and looking at me like, I know they can see me. And I can see them. It's crazy. It happens with cats and dogs here.
Yes.
Yeah, this is something that, like, the way the storyline's going, the way the one timeline's materializing, it's the same thing we used to talk about in our lives as children. And we were told, don't go down that road. It doesn't make sense. You can't homeschool. You have to get a vaccination. And I think something really happened with this COVID thing, because it made a lot of people go, what we did. Why? Who am I? Why am I doing this? Why do I say this? And you start to really find out who you are by finding out who you're not, because we're not robots. And that's what we did to our kids. You didn't do it. How many people do you know that their kids are in the circus in the year 2000? Now, it would be different if it was 1965, I remember when the circus used to come to town. But to say, I want to be in the circus, and then make it happen at 20 years old.
Yeah. She is contortionist also. The contortion, to bend her body. And handstand artist. And she found through her own journey her strengths and her gifts. And she told me, Mom, I have a brain because you need a lot of concentration. I have what it takes to be what I'm doing, and there is nothing else I want to do. That's all she wants to do, handstands the whole day. And think about it. I remember all I wanted to do is play piano. And yet my parents told me, you cannot make a living. You shouldn't be doing this. You have to go to college. You have to do, and that's it. It's like,
well, that's what we did, and that's what we did to our own kids. Well, a generation you didn't, but I mean, like, well, you think about it. What's the first thing we do is we start to hear no, don't do that, no, don't do that, no, don't do. And I'm like you. I was more like, fuck this. I'm gonna do what I want to do, and you learn that way too. You end up, burning your finger, or you bump into something, or you get, But that's how you learn. That's the way it works. And to encourage, I think, is the best thing we can do for each other. To encourage each other. Yeah. Go out there and play the piano at whatever your age is, I'm just starting to play with, I make music with my friends, and they're musicians, but I like to write words and rap, and now I like to try to sing a little bit. Well, yeah, that might sound crazy at 64 years old, but you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm like her. I want to be in the circus.
Yes.
That's a beautiful story. Like that's a book. You know what I mean? I could see that like a children's book. Where the mother's narrating the story about, I had this daughter when she was young, and da 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 da, and now she's a contortionist that lives walking around the world upside down.
Yes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
the heart, she knows that, and she learned, both of my daughters learned that the heart, I would tell them just, she would ask me, Mom, I am thinking to go wherever it is next. And then I would just tell her, okay, trust your heart. Everything, your housing and everything else, the job will work out if you go, if you put your heart, if you go with your heart. And then, because we often think, I'll go there, I'll do that if I'm gonna get this much money, if the job is there and everything has to somehow come about first. And then, but that's not how life works. It's like if you go with your heart, everything then organizes itself.
That's true. Yeah, if you go through it with those conditions, then you end up down the road going, how did I get in this situation? Well, you've got in that situation because you told the universe, I'm going to do this. I always say it like this. Like, I learned this early on. The universe used to tell me when I first woke up, don't ever throw an absolute at the universe. In other words, oh, I'm unity consciousness and oneness, except for these little things over here. Keep those out of. No, that doesn't work that way. But yeah, so I like this metaphor again with your daughter because, yeah, it's, and that's what I noticed in my youngest daughter. She didn't like, she would listen to me. You know, even though I was living out of a suitcase, traveling around the country, she was just finishing high school, but she said, this is what I want to do. And I said, okay, whatever you want to do, I support you, you know, 100%. You know, and everyone else was telling her, because she's very intelligent, you know, you could do whatever you want to do. You're smart. You could go to university. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. I mean, she could make more money than she makes, but she's very happy. And again, like your daughter, I see it more and more and more. I see it out here in this little Mexican town because it's not commercial. And I see these kids run. Where do you see kids in the world running through town barefoot? Like, just running, you know, dogs running around. They don't have any collars on. You know, it's just like, I've been here for 7 months, and I saw broken glass on the street for the first time last week. Somebody had just dropped a bottle. I guess they hadn't swept it up yet. Now, where do you go? I mean, this is energy. It's like the childlike wonder you're talking about. There is something to be said for the culture of what is really part of our composition, which is family. You know, even though the world's kind of like tried to destroy family units, you know, especially in the Western world, but it's our soul is made that way. Our soul is monadic. Our soul has family, a family tree. You know, it's part of us. And I think the childlike wonder, the spirit of a child is the root of, well, to me, it's like the soul. That is the soul. People say, oh, you're a big kid. You need to grow up. Well, I don't, this is the way, this is it. You know, put me in some water and let me, you know, I mean, it's like you said at the beginning, being a child is easy because it was natural. You know, we were just being ourselves, and that's what you said at the beginning. You know, you found that being yourself is easy. It is. It might take a while to get there, though, because you got to relearn some things, right?
Yeah, and reconnect back to our naturalness.
Yeah.
And yes, yeah.
That's why you know, it's funny because a lot of people, a lot of stuff happened, right? Like, especially the last couple of years, a lot of relationships ended, a lot of things ended, you know, a lot of things began, a lot of things got tore down, you know, not that we hadn't been tore down before, but I guess the universe figured, hey, we need to tear you down some more. And so for me, it was like Soulogy, like the show. That's all I ever did, all day long, every day. And then something just happened, and I just hit a wall. And boom, you know how that goes. You're just laying there. But now that I've come back into it since May and started to get the shows, like 50 shows a month again, and I really found that I really enjoy it a lot. I love to talk to people, ask questions, meet people, learn things, feel their energy. And it's a whole different thing. Not that I didn't like it before, but it's different now. It's weird because a lot of talk in this transition we call ascension, people talk about you got to let go of this and let go of that and let go of this. And I always thought that was weird, to detach, because how do you detach from something you're always connected to? It's kind of like what you said about absorbing. It doesn't mean that you got to carry something that's not yours, but it's something that was come to you so you could learn something, right? But what I'm finding is that it's just the parts that weren't real of yourself and the parts that weren't real of the other energy, be it a person, place, or thing, or function, or whatever. That's the part that's not going with this because it wasn't even real. It was
Yes.
something we made up in our head. So now we go forward together with the best parts of us, right?
Yes, that's so true. And we are more comfortable. I feel like that's the comfort, the new kind of comfort. We are comfortable in this new skin, I guess.
Yes.
More.
Yes, that's the way to put it. Yeah, it's and that's what I've seen with the sisters that are coming on, the more and more, like you. They're comfortable in their own skin. They're comfortable in their own skin. They're comfortable with themselves. And that's pretty cool. Because if the mother energy is reflecting that, everybody will.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Yeah. It's a permission slip. We have this permission to and go with it. You're safe.
Yeah, my dream is to see all of the sisters develop their own podcasts, and then I don't do it anymore. I'll just go on their shows. But I think we're going to see stuff like that. I think we're going to see more of the physical female in form. I think it started already. We're actually going to see the influence once and for all. Once and for all, because I follow a lot of podcasts just to see what people are talking about, just to pick up on the energy. And the template's 95% the old paradigm. It's masculine. It's that type of that type of tone. Even if it's got a feminine, it's still carrying the old template. I really feel like this is going to change, and not just in the podcast industry, but I mean in the world, government. Look at religion. Even the Buddhists don't even have nobody has a female religious leader. Like, what is that all about? You know what I'm talking about? Everybody, all of that's got to crumble. Every bit of it, including the Buddhists, including the Tibetan Buddhists, including all of them. It's all got to crumble, and it will, because this is bigger than all of us.
Yes. Will be exciting, and for all of us, yes, that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It is exciting.
So,
It is exciting. I mean,
yeah,
Go ahead.
the receptivity, let this intel, let that, right, the Divine Mother in women and men, let these things come from nowhere, right? From nowhere into this, from the infinity of all that is and is.
Yeah, and this isn't. What I love about talking to your sisters now is that maybe I've changed too. It's the chicken and the egg. I mean, who knows what it is? Is it me? Did I change? Did they change? Or did nobody change? And we're just opening it up more? I don't know. But
Yeah.
but it's not like just fluffy love and light bullshit. It's not. These people, these women, are stepping forward without victimization. They're not talking about their story and how much they suffered in the same way. They're talking about, well, they're not even talking about it. They're just comfortable in their own skin and speaking through that, speaking through what that, because that's not just something you see, it's something you feel. And like I said, if the mother energy, and look, I spend at least once a day out at the bay there's a bay here, and I've gotten very close to it. It's the mother energy and other energies, but man, the level of connection has just gone up, 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 up. And I know I can't be the only one. It's let go or be dragged. Because it's happening.
Absolutely.
You
Yes.
can't stop it. There's no way. This is on.
No.
Regardless of
You
what.
can't fight it.
No.
Yes. You can't fight it anymore. You can't hide from it. You can't keep separate from it. You can't it'll rip you apart. It'll show you what's what. Yes. Because
Yeah.
it's so powerful. It
Yeah.
is so powerful. It's like with these children that we, like your younger children, it's these young children that carry this, and then they are not afraid to be themselves, and
Well,
we are not afraid.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a lag. Yeah. It's natural to us. It's a natural thing to us. Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, there's so many different stories and narratives. Now, whatever, the burning of the, women in the 13, 14, 1500s, the removal of the goddess from the ancient religions, it doesn't matter, but the whole thing is, that's over now. The distortion of the mother is over. It's over. And it's coming through in her daughters who are comfortable in their own skin and who are raising children and saying, before it was popular, I'm going to homeschool them. And then people say to him, well, don't you want to have a life? Well, this is my fucking life. What makes you think this isn't my life? So where do you think these kids got that from? If your youngest daughter was put in the institutional educational system in the United States of America, as opposed to being homeschooled by you, she probably wouldn't be in the circus. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of conditioning we all went through, especially as old people. I don't mean that with you.
When she chose to go for a year to a high school, and again she says, I want to go, and I let her go. She did cheerleading. I mean, certain things she had to learn there too.
Well, I'm sure she wanted to hang out with other kids and stuff like that. I mean, I could see that, I mean, come on. These girls now, I mean, man, they're already women at 10, 11, 12 years old. It's crazy. It's crazy. I used to have this weekly meeting with my two daughters. They were like 12 and 13. Because I was a single dad. And they'd come home on Friday, and I'd be in the kitchen, because every Friday they'd come in and say, we want to go do this, and we want to go do that. And I'd give them a lecture. I'd walk back and forth and tell them, I'm your father. Your mother was, she's not here, but, blah, blah, blah. And they would just look at me like, are you done? my God! One day I had it was a pretty good sized kitchen, and I had a bamboo round table with a glass top. And I gave them the lecture. You know, I was walking back and forth. You got to clean your room before you go out, and you need to. Da, da, da. And they just looked at me like, "Can we go now? Are you done?" And I kicked the ball. I kicked this basketball, and it bounced up in the air and hit the table and shattered. But that was for me. that was for my stupidness, right? That was for me not homeschooling them. So you know, like I said, it's pretty humbling, and yeah, it's okay. We can laugh about it now.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
We
it's
remembering those. Yes, when we allow, like with each other, we hear each other. So when the heart hears, then there is that allowing. There is nothing to be afraid. Like if the child is making that choice, if we are making that choice, what is that choosing? What is that energy that wants to go that way or that way? And as I feel aloud that full feeling, um, that's the unfoldment, right? That's the soul path. That's the soul is choosing this to be whatever it is, to move there or to do this. Or like my older daughter, she wants to have all these animals and all these guinea pigs and and I'm like, okay, I would for myself, I
she'll
would
probably
say,
be running a zoo, and your other daughter will be at the circus performing at the zoo every weekend.
who knows? Yeah.
But you know, it's time now. It's really time, and I feel like a big part of what's happened here has been collectively speaking through the individuals that, hey, we've had enough of this. I'm done. No, we're souls. We can pack up our stuff and go to the next planet or go to the next experience. Like the energy of having enough is enough. It's kind of like when, you know, when I was a little kid and my brothers and sisters and I would be playing in the house and the parents went to the store for a little bit, you know, and we're raising hell, and then all of a sudden the mother pulls up, you know, like the mother's home now. You know what? It's over. The gig is up. It's time, and I believe we're realizing that, and we're going to realize it more and more as the days go by. Thank God. Thank the goddess. Thank God. Thank it all. I don't know about you, but I'm
Yes.
tired.
Me too.
I want to go join. I want to go join the circus. I'll be the announcer. I don't have the body to do anything else anymore. I'm breaking down. But
Yes. Yes.
it
Have fun.
was a unexpected great pleasure to have a conversation with you. You're a
Yes,
breath of
great
fresh
pleasure.
air. You're just the reason I do what I do. It's
Thank you so much.
it's the truth. You know, sometimes it's not easy to get up and do this, but like today, I was literally. I woke up at 4 and worked my butt off till about 10, and then you know how the energy comes in and you just got to lay down. Next thing I know, it was 20 minutes till the show started. I thought, I don't know if I can do this. And then something came in and said, yeah, you can do this. Get some tea, you can do this. So yeah,
Mm.
to be able to talk to people like you is the reason I love doing this. So thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. I am grateful for your shows, for your soul calling. That's your yep. And for doing what gathering all of us and giving us the mic to
Yeah.
to talk. And
Yeah.
may you be blessed in you. Yes, and may this year be and each day revealing more and more of what this light is revealing all of us.
Yeah.
And bless you with the miracles.
Yeah. 100%. Big ditto. And I will either see you. Well, first of all, blessings of peace, love, and grace to you and your beautiful family. And second of all, I will see you on this side, the other side, or both.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
You take care. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We'll be back in about 6 hours for the second show. Thank you. Bye-bye.